and this is my week 3 assignment for FTH 223-52749. Today's date is May 12th, 2024, and this is for Professor Schumann. For this week's assignment, we are to use our hammer-fired pistol that was sent from the school, the SAR B6, to perform a dry function check as well as a function check with dummy rounds. So I do have the SAR B6 with the action open. I'm going to remove the magazine. The magazine is empty. Nothing in the chamber. Nothing in the mag well. When performing a dry function check, what you're doing is you're listening for as well as feeling for the way the firearm is functioning, the way the action feels. So with this firearm, I'm going to pull the slide to the rear. You want to see how it feels as you're pulling the slide to the rear and moving it, letting it go back forward. You want to engage the safety and make sure the hammer doesn't fall when the trigger is pulled with the safety engaged. Then you want to pull the trigger and release it. Rack the slide again. This time I'm going to pull the trigger while holding the trigger to the rear. I'm going to rack the slide again to hear as well as feel the reset. And that is the trigger resetting. Now I'm going to load 2 dummy rounds into the magazine. And this is a dry fire function check. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the slide back and chamber one of the dummy rounds. I'm going to engage the safety. Pull the trigger again. Make sure the hammer does not fall. Then I'm going to disengage the safety. Pull the trigger. With the trigger held to the rear, I'm going to rack the slide to extract and eject the first dummy round. When I release the slide, it's going to load and chamber the second dummy round. I'm going to release the trigger for the reset. Pull the trigger again with the trigger held to the rear. You want to make sure the last round is extracted and ejected and the slide locks to the rear. That completes the dry function check as well as the function check with the dummy rounds. Now I'm going to perform a field strip on the firearm. To field strip the SAR B6, remove the magazine, but I already have the magazine removed. You want to make sure the firearm is clear. And when you field strip the SAR B6, there's these 2 dots right here. You have to line those dots up. And when you line those dots up, you want to push on this pin. The easiest way to do that is to use the bottom of the magazine to push the pin while you have the 2 dots aligned. So I'm going to go on and do that. When you remove the pin, the slide will come forward off the frame. Now you have the frame sub-assembly as well as the slide sub-assembly. With the slide, you want to take the recoil spring, push it, pull it up and out of the slide. Take the barrel, pull the barrel out of the slide, and that is a full fill. With the firearm field stripped, I'm going to point out the sub-assemblies and some of the functions we would check for with the sub-assemblies. This is the slide sub-assembly, and with the slide sub-assembly, you will want to check the firing pin block. And the way to check that, you can use a punch, depress the firing pin without pressing the firing pin safety or the firing pin block to make sure the firing pin does not protrude. And with the frame, you can see where the knobs on the trigger bar will engage the firing pin safety block as the trigger is being pulled. And you can also check the magazine catch to make sure it functions properly. And those are a few things that you can check in the sub-assemblies when you have the firearm field stripped. Now with the firearm field stripped, I'm going to perform a full disassembly. The tools needed for the disassembly are a 1/16 pin punch, a 3/32 pin punch, a 1/8 pin punch, a 1/8 roll pin punch, and a 3/32 roll pin punch. A hammer, screwdriver with flathead, Phillips head bit, needle nose pliers, and tweezers. These are the tweezers that you squeeze to open. They can hold things in case there's anything small that needs to be held. This is the SAR B6 fully disassembled. The slide has been fully disassembled. The frame has been fully disassembled. The rear housing and hammer has been fully disassembled. The trigger housing with the sear has been fully disassembled. Trigger removed, hammer removed. Everything has been disassembled. All right, with everything back together, I want to do a function check. With the safety engaged, the hammer cannot be cocked. With the hammer cocked and the safety engaged, the hammer won't fall. So that is a full disassembly and reassembly of the SAR B6. These are some serious learning experiences, but can't say it's easy. You know, by things being, you don't learn when something is easy. This was actually more difficult than the Taurus 856. This was probably the most difficult with just some of the springs that were in here. Let me do a dummy check, dummy round check. Only thing left is a live fire.